Controversy erupted today as Keir Starmer's wife disrupted a high-stakes MP meeting, sending shockwaves through the political landscape and casting a harsh spotlight on the Labour leader's ability to govern. This unprecedented intrusion, coupled with explosive divorce allegations, has thrown Starmer's leadership into question at a time when the Labour Party is desperate for stability. What should have been a routine meeting quickly spiraled into chaos, leaving MPs stunned and the public questioning whether Starmer can hold his party and his personal life together. The implications of this incident are profound, with critics warning that the scandal could derail Labour's momentum and cripple Starmer's credibility as a leader. The disruption wasn't some minor distraction. It was a seismic event that many are calling a turning point in Starmer's political career. His critics, both inside and outside the party, have wasted no time in seizing on the incident as evidence of deeper cracks within his leadership. Labour, which has already been struggling to present a united front, now finds itself in the throes of a crisis that threatens to overshadow its policy agenda and alienate the public at a critical juncture. The timing couldn't be worse. With the cost of living crisis worsening and public trust in politics at an all-time low, Labour had been positioning itself as a party of stability and hope. This scandal could obliterate that narrative, leaving the party floundering just when it needs to be at its strongest. Starmer's critics are already sharpening their knives. Many have pointed out that his leadership style has always been cautious, bordering on indecisive, a trait that could prove fatal in the face of this mounting pressure. The disruption at the meeting wasn't just a personal embarrassment, it was a political disaster. Starmer has spent years trying to shake off the perception of being a technocrat with little passion or vision, but this scandal has reignited those criticisms with a vengeance. In the eyes of many, this isn't just about his marriage, it's about whether he has the strength and resilience to lead a fractured party and a struggling nation. The reaction from within the Labour Party has been swift and brutal. Senior figures are reportedly aghast at the spectacle, with some privately questioning whether Starmer can survive the fallout. The whispers of dissent that have long plagued his leadership are now growing louder, and the public airing of his marital troubles has only added fuel to the fire. Some MPs are said to be furious that such a personal matter has been allowed to spill into the public domain, arguing that it reflects a lack of discipline and focus at the very top of the party. Others are using the scandal as an opportunity to push their own agendas, further fracturing an already divided party. The sense of betrayal among Labour's rank and file is palpable, and it's clear that Starmer has a fight on his hands to regain their trust. Public reaction has been equally unforgiving. For many voters, the spectacle of a party leader unable to manage his personal life, let alone his political responsibilities, is deeply unsettling. The British public has long been skeptical of politicians who fail to live up to their promises, and this latest scandal only reinforces the perception that Labour is more focused on its internal dramas than the issues that matter to ordinary people. The timing couldn't be more damaging. With millions of families struggling to make ends meet, the last thing they want to see is their would-be Prime Minister embroiled in a soap opera that distracts from the real issues. Starmer's ability to connect with voters was already in question. Now, it's hanging by a thread. Some political commentators have suggested that the scandal could be a blessing in disguise, forcing Starmer to confront the weaknesses in his leadership and emerge stronger. But that optimism feels misplaced. The scale of the backlash, both within his party and among the public, suggests that this is less a moment of reckoning and more a harbinger of decline. Starmer's refusal to address the allegations head-on has only made matters worse, with critics accusing him of evasion and a lack of transparency. Leadership is about facing challenges directly, and so far, Starmer has failed to rise to the occasion. The Labour Party now faces a stark choice. It can rally around its leader and try to weather the storm, or it can begin the painful process of seeking new leadership. Neither option is without risk. Sticking with Starmer could alienate voters who see him as weak and ineffective, while replacing him would almost certainly plunge the party into a protracted civil war that would make the Corbyn years look tame by comparison. The stakes couldn't be higher. Labour is finally within striking distance of the Conservatives after years in the wilderness, but this scandal could squander that hard-won progress in an instant. The broader implications of this crisis extend beyond Starmer and Labour. At a time when public trust in politics is already at rock bottom, this scandal reinforces the perception that politicians are out of touch and more interested in their own dramas than the needs of the people they serve. For a party that has long positioned itself as the voice of the disenfranchised, this is a devastating blow. Labour risks losing its moral authority at a time when the country is crying out for genuine leadership. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is clear: the coming weeks will be critical for both Starmer and the Labour Party. The public will be watching closely to see how he handles this crisis, and his response will likely determine whether he survives as leader. The stakes are enormous, not just for Starmer's political career but for the future of the Labour Party itself. If he fails to navigate this scandal with skill and decisiveness, he could find himself out of a job, and Labour could find itself back in the political wilderness. This is a moment of truth, not just for Keir Starmer, but for British politics as a whole. The question now is whether he has what it takes to rise to the challenge, or whether this scandal will mark the beginning of the end.